Hey guys, I wanted to post an update on Truffle. As you might already know, Truffle's belly became abnormally large practically overnight. Our usual vet wasn't in, so we saw a relief vet who felt around her belly and told me it was a tumor in her abdomen, that it was likely malignant since it was so aggressive, and that there wasn't anything we could do but monitor her quality of life until it was time to euthanize her. So we were sent home with buprenex for pain relief and prednisolone for this suspected tumor. Going home, I didn't feel right about this, and after mentioning it to a friend a few days afterward, she referred me to another exotic specialist that I hadn't seen before. So I called that evening, got an appointment for the next morning, and this vet took a swab of discharge that Truffle had, and under the microscope found bacterial infection. An ultrasound found a lot of liquid but no kind of solid abnormal mass, and she did explain that there could be a small solid mass like a tumor somewhere, but we weren't seeing one. So between the swab and the ultrasound and all of the symptoms, she determined that Truffle likely had a uterine infection, or pyometra, which means her uterus was filled with pus. There are two types of pyometra. Open pyometra means that the cervix is still open, allowing that infection to drain in the form of a discharge from the vagina. Closed pyometra means that the cervix is closed, with nowhere for the infection to go, so the uterus begins to balloon up from all of that infection building up inside. For a rat, you would probably expect to be put on antibiotics while your vet weighs the pros and cons of an ovariohysterectomy, which is just a fancy term for spaying, and that's going to remove the infected uterus altogether. However, for a mouse, surgery in most cases isn't practical. It's so invasive for their tiny bodies, and it's such a huge risk, even with a skilled surgeon. Not only because of how tiny and delicate their organs are, but also because of how rough anesthesia and recovery can be on them. This means that in Truffle's situation, surgery was never really an option on the table. We went home with acidophilus and SNZ TMP to fight this infection, but I think it was just too little too late. Within 24 hours, Truffle had severely gone downhill, and she became largely unresponsive and was cold to the touch and wasn't eating or drinking. She would crawl very slowly into her food bowl, but then just sit there. And her breathing was a little heavy, but that was to be expected with such an enlarged uterus, kind of pushing up against and squishing her other organs. And what I really noticed was that her belly had softened, and now it was red and a little dark. And that kind of discoloration on the belly can possibly indicate internal bleeding. With closed pyometra, the infected uterus can actually burst open from all of the infection that has built up and fill the abdomen with pus, which is fatal. It was a Sunday morning, and our vet was closed, and there really wasn't anything else we could do. So Truffle snuggled up with me, and she crossed the Rainbow Bridge at 9:40 a.m. on January 18th. She was my heart mouse and my cuddle buddy, and there is no way for me to express just how much I miss her already and how much she will be missed as time goes on. I hope to do a more in-depth video about pyometra at some point in the future, but I did want to go ahead and provide enough information in this video to encourage you to learn more about it so that you can be more aware of it, especially if your unspayed rats or mice start to show any symptoms like the ones Truffle had. So I'm going to leave you a link in the description to the Rat Health Guide, which has more information about pyometra in rats if you're interested. Our new vet offered to perform a necropsy on Truffle free of charge so that we could have more definite answers about what happened. So once that's done, Truffle will be cremated. And if you have any questions about pyometra or if you've dealt with it before and want to share your experience, leave a comment. Just remember that responses on YouTube are in no way a substitute for a vet appointment, and if you think your rat or your mouse is showing symptoms of pyometra, they need to be examined by an exotic specialist as soon as possible. I wish I had a more cheerful update for you guys, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.